Hello everyone, welcome to a new tutorial video on Python graphical user interface, popularly known as GUI. And this tutorial actually begins the graphical user interface developing WxPython. This is with respect to WxPython version number 4. To be very specific, the version is 4.0.1, which is based on WxWidgets, which is in actually C++. WxPython is the bindings for WxWidgets, and the codename project for this is Phoenix. So this version number 4 of WxPython, which is the latest as of May 2018. So this has a very good object-oriented APIs with respect to the previous versions of WxPython available after the codename called Phoenix project started from the WxPython developers. So from this video we talk only on the WxPython, how to develop graphical user interface using WxPython using Python programming language. As you people are aware, we are using Eclipse platform with PyDay plugin. So let's begin the graphical user interface development using WxPython. So I'll just invoke Eclipse IDE, and if you have any issues with respect to running the project or configuration with respect to Eclipse, please visit the first couple of videos of this presentation series, so that will become fully aware again of how to install, configure and get WxPython up and running. So this is the same for Python or any other Python projects. This tutorial series is dedicated for WxPython, which is WxPython 4, which is actually a Python bindings for WxWidgets, which is in C++. And this is coming from WxPython developers with a code name called Phoenix. So what I have done for this tutorial video is I've created a Python package. Python package, as you people might be aware, it's a directory in the hard disk, and PyDay module is the file. So I've created a file called wxfile1.py, and please retain this prefix and suffix with the double underscore with the keyword called init.py. So this is all about initialization. This will be helpful for really professional software developers in Python for some kind of configuration of the particular package. So module meal file, package means directory. So I created a package wxproj1, and I have created a file called wxfile.1.py. So this is the tutorial series on WxPython graphical user interface. We won't be touching all the salient features of Python 3. We are using Python 3.6.4, which is Anaconda package of 5.1. So let's begin WxPython graphical user interface development. The first thing is to so I'll create a file so that you'll get the main function. So if you want to delete a file, just select it, right click it and delete it and press OK. So I'll create a new file, a new Python module, which is known as the file as wxfile1, or I will say wxgui1. So I'll select the main. This is standard way of doing things. So main will have the pass, and if you have any issues, first time you select the file, left click with using mouse button, left mouse button, then right click the mouse button, so you'll get a context specific menu. So come to run as and select Python run. So now this file is ready to run while pressing the run button, and as you can see, this already has all the stack ready, but now the run and the debug is actually configured to run this specific file known as wxgui1. So first thing to start wx graphical user interface is to import wx, just two letters wx. So next thing, as you can see, the IntelliSense of the PyDay in Eclipse IDE, you just place wx and plus dot. You can actually see all the methods, classes, its parameters, and options available for the entire WX package. That's the biggest advantage of using the latest version, which is WxPython 4 with the code name called Phoenix, because the APIs of WxPython is properly configured for object-oriented development using Python. So as the people might be aware, we are using Python 3. Most of it's all valid for Python 2 as well, but this is basically a standard Python 3 development. So first thing you have to start for a WX widget GUI development is to start using the API called WX app. So in the Python it is wx.app. So anything that the classes or the configuration parameters, you have to use two letters WX and then WX dot. So I get the IntelliSense of the Eclipse PyDev is correctly working now. So first we start with the object-oriented features of Python. So this is Python 3 class. You put WX app. Please give a meaningful name. You can give the same name what I'm giving. You can also start typing in your computer as you listen to the tutorial video. So you have to inherit. This is the single inheritance wx.app. So this is the first thing you have to inherit. So let's start using the object-oriented features of Python. So init self, so colon, and we should call the superclass of the class what we are inherited and create an instance of WX app self and call its constructor. So remember, in Python underscore init underscore is actually the constructor of a given class. So we created a constructor for the class WX app. This is the name of the this is the instance of the class object called wx.app. This is the very first thing that has to be invoked, so that we get a WX starts running in the background. The event loop starts running. So what is event loop? To capture keyboard press events and mouse click events. So that is the event, and also the graphical user interface. Graphics rendering is known as, because it should display all the things in a rectangular window. So all the windowing functions and the event driven functions is actually provided by wx.app, which is right here. So we are inherited this class into our class called WxApp. So don't exactly give WX dot itself. Don't use the dot, because dot represents object oriented features of the Python. So just use a meaningful name. You can give the same name or any meaningful name you want. Give the actual name of the application you want to develop. So this is the constructor for this class called WxApp, and then the super is the keyword that is used to call the class that is inherited, which is wx.app. This app is the standard class of the library called WX, which is the graphical user interface library what we are using for Python application development, which is WxPython 4, to be specific WxPython 4.0.1. and we are calling the super, and this is the instance of the class that should be created in the by inheriting wx.app and calling its constructor, so that it invokes all the standard initialization process that is required for WxApp to run. So this is the only line for the constructor of WxApp app. There is one very specific things what you have to remember is there is a function. If you write def, that is the keyword for starting a function in Python on init. So if once you type on, you can actually see the IntelliSense has picked up so many things. What we need is on init. Init stands for initialization. So this is like the standard function which is called as soon as the WX library itself is called, so that wx.app gets invoked, the event loop starts running, so that it captures keyboard and mouse events and the graphical inference, because it has to display something on the computer screen of the user. So this function has to be used in the beginning. This function is a must. On init stands for on initialization, and it has a standard return function, so keep it as it is for now. So and the return is this returning wx.onInit some kind of initialization parameters it has, and it is returning. This function has to be there for wx.app. This is a must. So let's create an instance of our application called app equals WxApp. So as you can see, IntelliSense is working. So once you do, this is the main thing, what you call the main loop. So just for the sake of readability, we'll put something like this, so that you can actually see where the function ends and where the classes ends. Actually, you can choose the way you want to how to organize code. So this is one of the effective ways what we actually use for organizing our code, so to improve our readability of the program. So this so just run it. Let's see whether there are any configuration issues or library issues of WX especially. So as you can see, console hasn't created any red statement in red color, the syntax. So everything is right. So the WX library has been installed and configured properly for our Python 3 development, and we have called the wx.app as the single instance for WX app. But please remember, this is a must function that should be there, and this super has to be there for initialization process in the constructor of the class that you're inheriting the app, and this is the must keyword. So as you can see, we are run it. So the main loop, this is the must for WxApp. Once you make the instance of WxApp and you have the main loop should be running. So once the main loop is invoked, it invokes all the event driven libraries, for example keyboard, mouse, graphics, all the way to multimedia is there, audio, video things. So this is bare bone, and if you click, nothing comes. This is not there is no real graphical user interface window that's actually appearing. The graphical user interface window is actually what is known as WX frame. So we don't have to import anything, just import WX two letters. That's all. That will do for now especially. So let's create a class that actually inherits the frame. So WX dot frame. So same thing, you create a constructor for the, and it should have a parent. You can initialize to none. This is the parameter that is passed on to the constructor of this WX mainframe class, and we are inheriting the single instance from the WX.frame class. So we'll have a super because we are inheriting, so we called it super. We create an instance of our class, and we pass on to the self, and then call the constructor of the WX frame, and that will have a parent. So parent in the sense that is the backend graphical rendering area for the class that is actually inherited from the library, because graphics has to be rendered onto the computer screen of the user. So there should be a backend. It's like, for example, you take a white sheet of paper and then start writing with pencil or pen. We don't directly take pencil or pen and start writing in thin air and we can't see anything. So the backend is always, think about backend, graphical user interface backend, more like a white sheet of paper. You can write, you can draw, you can paint, you can write poetry, you can write stories, you can publish books. It's the same way. So think about the rendering backend like a white sheet of paper. So this WX mainframe is the class that is inheriting WX.frame, and we call super. We created an instance of WX mainframe. We call the inheritance constructor of the super, which is WX.frame, and passed on to the parent. Now the parent has been initialized to none. In the future, if you want to have a parent, a different parent, you can have a parent. You can call a frame inside another frame. There's a possibility you can have any number of frames for a given WX app, wx.app should be only one instance, but you can have any number of wx.frame, any number of instance. In the future we'll talk about how to have a multi-window application and each one window is talking to another window. This is very much useful for complex commercial application development, because we need to have multiple windows doing multiple operations. We cannot put all the functionality in one window. It will become cumbersome to handle for the user. It becomes complicated, and as far as the rendering goes of graphics rendering, it will become much slower because the event loop is doing a lot of functionality. So it's better to have multi-frame, but there should be only one WX app. More than one WX.app, you can actually see the errors that is coming when you just run it. So first we created a WX.app. Now we are trying to create a WX.frame. This WX.frame, the frame actually renders in the parent, in the automatic parent called application. So it is the frame that provides that white sheet of paper for rendering buttons, menus, scroll bars, graphics, images, text rendering. So we'll cover all the salient features of WX graphical user interface in the subsequent tutorials. But for now, this is the beginning. So first create a WX instance, WX app application instance. App stands for application. Then start a frame. It is a frame that actually renders all the widgets what we want to have in our application. So we call this, there is no default function here. This is the initial constructor for Python. Remember, object oriented programming constructs for Python, the init is the constructor. So please please go through the previous few videos where we are talking about object oriented features of Python 3 and its salient features. For example, the single inheritance, how you pass on to the value to the constructor and call its member functions. So please check the few videos, at least couple of videos previous to this video. So this is the thing, and so what we should do is we'll rearrange we will rearrange this. We'll take this frame upwards. Just a logical, you can do it down itself, but as far as the logical way of organizing our code is, we create a class, we create an app down, because we'll create an instance of our WX frame, which is the frame inside WX app. This is app application. This is the frame for rendering our graphics or user interfaces like buttons, menus, and all sorts of text and image rendering. So where we create, we actually create the instance here of our WX mainframe. So let's create an instance. Mainframe instance equals mainframe. So this is not enough. We have to provide a initial size of how long and how high the frame has to be. So let's create the size, typically known as the size. So in WX, all the member functions of WX starts with a capital letter, and we're going to set minimum size, and the minimum and the size function for WX in WX is WX start size. WX size is a class. It will have two parameters, which is like integer. So we'll pass on 800 cross 600. So what is 800? First is width, meaning along the horizontal side, and height is 600 on the vertical side of the screen. So make sure this width and height is like 80% or 70% of your computer screen, and don't give numbers greater than your computer screen, because you can't even see what's been rendered. So always make sure it's much smaller than the display size. So usually the standard display size, even laptop, is like 1300 plus by 760 plus. So make sure it less than 1300, like 800, and less than 760 plus. That is the smallest size generally available. So other people might have a full HD display, which is 1920 along the horizontal axis, horizontal, and 1080 on the 1920 and 1080 on the y-axis. That is full HD. HD means high definition. This is pertaining to the graphics. For general graphical user interface development, it is known as the size in the number of pixels, known as pixel stands for picture cell. So this is the typically known as the width, and this is known as the height. So the first parameter from the left to right side, first parameter from the left, this parenthesis is 800 and 600. This is 800 is width, 600 is height. You can also give a instance title. I'll show where the title comes here. So this is a string. This is string. You can give any name you want, give the meaningful names, and give the typically if you develop a commercial or any application, is actually the application name. It can be anything, like say I'm developing a text editor, so give test what is a set title in double quotes the string called text editor, or I have a name, a specific name, Python editor, or I am developing something called C++ editor or Java editor or even JavaScript editor or anything, or just a text editor or a style editor. So just give a meaningful name. I will show where it comes, set title. So what to do, the final thing is to make the frame visible. So that function is known as the show. So in Python this is known as the named parameter, named construct, or it is known as the positional argument. This is the positional argument, meaning first thing will go to first. This is the named argument in Python, because show equals, you can always give, you can remove show equals as true, or write named something like this. So it doesn't matter, it's one and the same, especially because there is only one parameter we are passing to the function called show, which is the method for the class instance of WxFrame. WxFrame has a single instance of wx.frame, and we have created an instance calling the super. So we created instance of WxFrame, and we set the minimum size width 800 and height 600. We had set the title WxGUI1. You can give any meaningful name you want, and we're asking the instance to show in the sense it will be visible on the computer screen of the developer. So let's run it and see whether there are some issues. So as people can see, there's a window that is being created. This is the very first step that should be followed for graphical user interface using WxPython. So this along the horizontal axis, this is 800, and the vertical axis, which is known as the height, this is the 600. So this is height 600, this is width 800. And as you can see, the title comes here, WxPython GUI1, WxPython GUI1 here. So give any meaningful name of your application development. So these are the first steps of starting a graphical user interface using WX. Graphical user interface library called WX. So I'll just exit the application. So as you can see in the console here, I put the console which is at the bottom to the right hand side. You can do as per your convenience. So just to have a bigger text display of the file, I have put it on the right hand side. So you can just move around wherever you want. You can put as per your convenience. I just put it on the right hand side, drag and drop. So drag and drop feature is fantastic in Eclipse. So remember, Eclipse is the #1 IDE, integrated development environment for Java, and we are using PyDev, Python development plugin for development for Python programming. So this has even debug feature. So when you run into some serious issues, we'll get into debugging. So as far as the standard application development in Python using Eclipse, using with the PyDev plugin, you just press the run. So you will get the window. So I'll exit the application. So just remember, this on init is a must function for the class that is inheriting WX app. So just recap, So first we created an instance of wx.app, which is application. Then we created a frame, wx.frame instance of the class, and we created an instance of the class that is inheriting the frame inside the onInit function of wx.app class, which is inheriting. So we set the size 800 width, 600 height, and we gave the title WxGUI1, and we asked the instance of the frame to show, meaning show up in the screen. If you put you can put show equals or even show equals true, so it doesn't matter. So press the run, so you'll get it. So named, remember there are two options, two ways of calling a method. Method means the function of the class, where you can go for positional arguments or named arguments. If you put show equals, I'll do using the IntelliSense. Show equals to, this is known as the named argument. You name the variable and assign. Remember, equals is known as the assignment. Equals to true, it has to be true, so that you show, meaning you show the graphics of this frame. So app is just the application which runs the event loop, keyboard, mouse, graphics, event loop. So remember, this is the first line that is actually executed in the Python file, because it has the name main. This is like main in C, C++, Java, C#. And we create an instance of WxApp. This is always the instance. We create the frame inside the onInit of WxApp, and we created the WxApp instance in the main statement, which executed by the Python interpreter, which is the WxApp, and we're calling the main loop. So these are the only two statements that is required to invoke the application. It doesn't matter how complex the application. So this is the standard way of doing. First, create instance of WxApp, create a class instance of WxFrame, create a WxFrame instance inside onInit, and call it to show, and in the main function, main statement, call the application main loop. So just run it, you get the instance, we get the window. So just exit. So that's it for now. So it has taken so I'll end this presentation. So thanks for sitting with me and watching this video till the very end. Please stay tuned for the additional WxPython GUI series coming up in the additional tutorial videos in the future. Okay, I will end this video. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.